Welcome back to another episode of the Op-Ed Average podcast, where we have a lot of opinions. Most of them are pretty average. I'm Monica.
And I'm Anna. This time last year, we invited Winnie, coordinator extraordinaire from Events Assemble, to chat with us regarding all things weddings and celebrities. So Winnie's a little busy this year, so we're going to try and do this episode without her, and hopefully she'll be able to join us sometime soon for our, I guess we're calling this our annual wedding episode.
We love talking about weddings.
We do love talking about weddings. So much drama.
I know.
Okay.
Well, it's been a while since we've done Reddit's Am I the Asshole? So we're going to bring it back. And this time we're going to do the wedding edition.
Ooh.
We actually did do this with Winnie, but we didn't do like a full episode on it. We kind of just gave her a few Am I the Asshole articles to react to. But we're going to just do like a whole episode of just Am I the Asshole articles regarding wedding situations.
Yes.
So you're going to want to stick around, hang out with us, and let's listen to all the drama that comes with it.
Woo!
Let's get into it. Woo! So Anna, what do we typically do with like our
okay?
Episode?
So first off, I just want to say it's really hot right now, guys. As you guys know,
we're in a heat wave.
We're in a heat wave, and it is hell hot right now. So I have a fan in front of me. So in case I have a Beyonce moment,
he's gonna get a lot of Beyonce moments.
That's what is happening. It's super warm. We're just gonna try and do this and stay cool. Basically, I know every place on the West Coast, Mon, is like super hot. It's like the whole country, I think, at this point.
Gosh, I think like Las Vegas, whoever's living in Las Vegas right now, I think they hit an all-time high of like 120 degrees.
Yes.
120.
That's so sad. There's like someone that passed away in Death Valley, like a biker that was like, I don't know why I don't know why, but like, like record highs everywhere as well. So everyone stay safe and cool out there. So hopefully,
stay hydrated.
You can hang out with us and keep cool. So for Am I the Asshole, Mon and I each pick a couple of articles, and hopefully we've chosen like different articles. So for this one, they're all going to be wedding related, and we're just going to take turns reading them, and then we will each read our articles and just chit chat, chismes, and give our opinions regarding these articles. So let's get into it. Mon, do you want to go first?
Yeah. So I have one. The title, Am I the Asshole for Wearing a Wedding Dress at a Wedding?
Okay.
Well, I mean, off of that title, you'd think so.
Yeah.
So my friend, who is 20 years old, female, and I, who is 19 years old, male, have been friends for a few years, and she recently got engaged. A week ago, I got a DM from her for a small costume party she was hosting as a celebration for her engagement. I asked if there was a theme, and she said there wasn't. So since I'm a cosplayer, I had a lot of choices. I didn't want to just walk up in any old anime cosplay, so I thought it'd be funny to go to an engagement party as the corpse bride.
Okay.
I arrived at her house and everything seemed normal. A few people complimented my costume and I was having a lot of fun. After 10 minutes, my friend's fiance walked out in a black tuxedo and announced that this was actually their wedding.
Oh, it's one of those.
Apparently, my friend saw a video of someone doing this and wanted to do the same.
Yeah, it's not that it's common, but I've seen this. It's like a surprise.
Heard of this.
Yeah, a surprise wedding.
It's crazy. Okay, well, he continues. He asked all of us to go. So I guess his friend's fiance.
Mm-hmm.
He asked all of us to go to the backyard for the ceremony to begin. I went straight to him and asked him, like, should I go home like really quick and change my outfit? And I would get back before it started. He told me it was fine since I didn't know it was a wedding.
Mhm.
I trusted him and, we all got inside the house or went outside the house. They got married and everything seemed good. The reception was just in their house again, so we just partied in there, talking to my friend and celebrating with her, but she kept making excuses to not talk to me. I assumed it was just because she was tired from the big day and just wanted some alone time. I didn't bother her after that, and soon the party was over. I got home and half an hour passed when I started getting a bunch of notifications, and it was my friend texting me. She was cussing me out and telling me how I ruined her
Oh,
wedding. I was really confused and asked what I did. That only made her angrier. She told me it was basic knowledge to not wear a wedding dress to a wedding. I reminded her that I had no idea it was a
right,
wedding
right.
and that I asked her now husband if I should change, and he said it was fine. She didn't respond, but I got a text from her husband. He asked why I would tell her. He
Oh,
said it was
geez.
fine.
Okay. This is spiraling now, right?
I mean, he's like 19 years old, right? Like,
Yeah.
so he writes very like
19?
young.
Yeah.
He writes very young.
Okay.
Um, and so basically it's like, yeah, why did you tell on me? Why did you say to
Yeah.
her that I said it was fine? So now it's his fault that the two of them are fighting over the
Oh,
situation.
God.
I tried texting her and that I was sorry, and if I had known, I wouldn't have done it. I woke up today and I saw her and her husband have blocked me on everything. So am I the asshole for not changing out of the wedding dress when I found out it was an actual wedding? And he had to add an edit. He had to clarify, I am a guy. I
That was one of my
cosplay.
questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is a guy. He just
Mhm.
cosplayed as
Yeah,
the
yeah,
corpse
yeah.
bride. And if
I
you
have
haven't watched
many
the corpse
opinions.
bride, he said he had blue paint all over his face. So it's not like
Ugh.
he was trying to look pretty.
So it's basically like a horror costume, right?
It's very, like, cartoony, I mean, depending on
Mhm,
how you do it, right? He
mhm.
also had to mention that he was Australian and that he's never heard of a costume party meaning fancy. Everyone else was dressed up in, like, a funny costume, so it wasn't like a
So
serious fancy
oh,
costume
I
party.
think I missed that. So it was a costume party.
Yeah, that's why they got together. She said, "Oh, come over. I'm
Oh,
hosting a costume party
costume party
to
for the engagement.
for the engagement specifically. It wasn't
Yeah.
a wedding."
Right,
So
right.
it's like you can't control what people are and she said there was
Yeah.
no theme.
Yeah, yeah.
That was her fault.
I think this is, like, totally not the asshole. Well,
Yeah.
no, not the asshole in a sense, like, it was a surprise wedding. Like, no one's gonna think that you're being invited to an engagement party, costume party, and then I mean, like, I guess it could happen, but, like, yeah, but honestly, if that were me and I lived close by, I would have probably changed. I don't know. It's just like, but then I didn't realize that you just said everyone was in costume.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's just because his specific costume was the wedding dress. That's
Yeah.
stupid. The bride is stupid. I don't think it just doesn't make like,
In
yeah, how is
any
that his
other
fault?
situation where if it was like a legit wedding and
Mhm.
you showed up in I mean, guy or girl, if you showed up in another wedding dress, sure, you're the
Yeah.
asshole. Like
Yeah.
you knew full well it's a party or a wedding. But this was a fun costume party,
Yes.
and he walked in blue face and everything with the wedding dress on, and I'm
Yeah.
sure it didn't look like, great.
Right.
So, I don't know why she would say that he ruined her wedding.
I also think, like, what are your expectations if your wedding's a costume party? I mean, what kind of like this just I mean, I don't want to offend anyone, but like they totally sound like 19, 20-year-olds. Like
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
just like this is nuts. Like this like it's hilarious to be
Uh,
honest with you. I think it's pretty funny.
yeah, I think this is pretty much self-explanatory. I don't think he's an asshole.
That's pretty funny though. And the whole thing about how now the groom's in trouble.
Yeah. "Why did you tell her?
Yeah.
Now I'm in trouble.
Yeah,
Now
they
I'm
sound
mad at
super
you
young.
too."
They sound super young. Oh my
Oh
god.
gosh.
Not the
Uh,
asshole.
Not the
right? Yeah,
asshole.
and that's very entertaining. But yeah,
Yeah.
that whole thing about like surprise, that's a thing. I've heard of that. I've seen it. It's like there's some celebrities that have done it, that just like invite everyone for like, pretend it's like the
Sure.
whatever, and then it turns out to be the actual wedding. So I guess
Yeah.
it takes a lot of pressure off, and maybe you could make it a little bit more casual and stuff. But yeah.
Right. A little bit
Yep.
more intimate,
Yeah.
and it's just yeah, if you wanted a costume party, it sounds like you wanted to have fun.
Yes, yes. It wasn't
So
like, yeah, exactly, like, how did he ruin it? It's not like it was, like, your traditional, super formal, like, event if it was a costume party, so yeah. Alright.
someone else could have been, like, in costume of, like, I don't even know.
What about, like, a sexy nurse or, like, a French maid or, like, all kinds of stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a
It
good one. Good one,
that
Mon.
was
Is that
yeah.
real? That
Oh,
doesn't even sound real.
I don't know. What did these people say?
Oh, yeah, what were people saying? Like, what are people's reactions?
So you get invited to a costume party and show up in a costume of the corpse bride. Suddenly, this costume party is a surprise wedding. Seeing a potential issue, you ask about fixing the problem. You ask him if you should change. This chuckle fuck says it's fine, and you believe him. Why would he? Because why would he lie?
Yeah, I don't know, it's just, like, first when you were talking or telling us about it or reading, I didn't realize it was a costume party. I thought he just showed up, like, in a costume or whatever.
Like
So
he what's it called? Crashed the wedding or something
Mhm. I
like this.
guess. But then if that's the case, so like for example, like if he was the only one in a costume and like you figured out it was the real wedding and you're close enough to go home and change, 100% go home and change. Like, but if everyone's in a costume, then who cares?
Yeah, like, did you get pictures of the guy who was just like Gumby or whatever? Like,
Or the
I don't know.
mustard and ketchup.
Like,
Oh
did
my
those
god.
not ruin
Yeah,
your
offend.
wedding?
Yeah, yeah. Holy crap. Okay. All right.
I
I'll
just
go
thought it was
on with the
funny.
next one. Wow.
Okay.
What a start. What a banger, Mon.
Alright, let's see what
Okay.
you got.
Am I the asshole for firing my best man for proposing at my wedding? So, okay, I guess the poster, 30-year-old male, wedding was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. My wife, 28-year-old female, and I spent months planning every detail, blah blah. They wanted it to turn out perfectly. Best man, his name is John, 32-year-old male, best friend since childhood. Naturally, I asked him to be my best man, and he accepted with excitement. The ceremony was beautiful. The reception was even better. Everything was going smooth until the speeches. John got up to give his best man. At first, it was full of the usual jokes and heartfelt stories, which everyone enjoyed. But then, out of nowhere, he turned to his girlfriend and started talking about their relationship. Before I knew it, he was down on one knee, proposing to her right in the middle of my reception. The room went silent. I could feel my wife's hand squeezing mine tighter and tighter. John's girlfriend said yes, and everyone started clapping and cheering, but I was fuming. I felt like my special day had been hijacked. Instead of celebrating our marriage, everyone was now focused on John and his fiancee. After the initial shock wore off, I confronted John and told him he was out of line. He said he thought it would be a great surprise and assumed I would be happy for him. I told him he was selfish and inconsiderate, and I ended up kicking him out of the reception. Now, some of our mutual friends say I overreacted and I should have let it slide for the sake of our friendship. My wife fully supports my decision, obviously, but I'm starting to wonder if I was too harsh. Am I the asshole for firing my best man and kicking him out of my wedding for proposing during my reception?
No. What the who would this be a nice surprise for other than his fiance, who now fiance, you know? Like,
Yeah.
sure, everyone's gonna be so happy. What are they
Yeah.
gonna do? Would you propose? Not clap or like, "Get off the stage?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like they didn't spend all this money, all this time setting
Yes.
up this wedding. for you to
Get
take the moment.
engaged. Yeah.
I mean, he totally used the right word. He hijacked the moment.
Yes, I
To
agree.
give
I
him
agree.
a best man speech? Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah. I think like so a lot of commenters, and I've seen
Mhm.
this a lot on social and stuff where people do propose at weddings, which I think is odd. It's not for me. Like I wouldn't want I think it's weird. I think it's weird. Like a lot of people do it like, you know how you've seen that whole thing where they kind of set it up for the bouquet toss
Oh, yeah.
where they give it to like the person and then the guy proposes. Like I don't dig that either, but at least when you do the bouquet toss, it's like the end of the night. And like and the one thing is also that usually people check in with the bride and groom to make sure that it's okay. You clear it with the bride and groom, even though I honestly don't think it's right to do this. I think it's super weird. I've seen this, and I feel like most of the time when you do this, I guess as long as you clear it with the family and the bride and groom, which I still think is kind of weird, but I have never come across it like during the speeches. I think that is like super like stepping over the line. You know what I
For
mean?
sure. Yeah, because the whole point of, like, the best man speech or, like, the speech is part of the night is that you're supposed to talk about the couple. You're not supposed
Yeah.
to segue into, "Oh, let me talk about my girlfriend."
Yeah, that is crazy. That is
Other
seriously like crazy.
other than, like, just hinting at, like, "Oh, you guys are, like, a great inspiration for our relationship." That's it.
Mhm.
That's done. You get
Yeah,
off.
yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I do see because of that, of like when it was done, it is totally like a hijack. So people are commenting that um, like they should have cleared it first.
For
So
sure.
that was one of the thing.
Agreed.
There's another good comment. It
Hmm.
was it was saying this happened at my cousin's wedding. Her new husband's best man, who was his brother, proposed to his long-term girlfriend, and it was fine because the best man brother asked if it would be okay as their whole family, including their terminally ill grandfather, was in attendance. He also waited until after the speeches were complete and dinner had been served. It was lovely, but had the groom said no, the brother would have waited.
Yeah, I think you should have kept the couple in the loop, and if they denied it, then you just stick with it because it's
Yeah.
like, well, why would you do it against their
Yeah. And you
will?
know what's so sad? Like they'll always associate their speeches at their wedding with someone else getting engaged, which is not
Mhm.
right. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they literally stole the moment, and that
Yes.
was not cool, so
Not cool.
definitely not the asshole.
Not the asshole. Best man asshole.
Ugh, yeah, wow, okay, well, those are great. My next article, it also involves a brother.
Ooh.
It's called, "Am I the asshole for refusing to go to my brother's overflow wedding?" I've never heard of this before. I don't know.
Ooh.
Have you heard
Do
of, like
tell.
have
I
you heard
think
of overflow weddings?
I mean, I think I know what it is. I'm gonna wait for you to read. I think okay, I'll just give my is it like a I think it's like a B list type thing. Do you know what that is? Like when you have like an A list guest list, and then when people start dropping out of that or RSVPing they can't make it, there's a B list that gets added on.
Mhm.
I think but an overflow wedding, what is this? Like a take two? Okay, go, go, go. Tell I want to know.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
okay. So, the writer is 23 years old, female. She has a brother who's 30 years old. He had been planning a wedding with his 26-year-old fiance for a year. My brother and I have never really been close because of our age difference, but it's not like we don't get along. Him and his girlfriend have been dating for a few years, and his fiance wanted to have this giant wedding with all of our family and hers, plus friends, plus ones, etc. But they couldn't really afford it. They finally
Ay,
agreed
ay,
to
ay.
have
This is getting good. Sorry.
they finally agreed to have this wedding at a venue that is somewhat small and they can afford it, but it does not allow more than 100 people in it at a time.
Okay.
I guess her and her parents were mad about this because there are more than 100 people just in her family or in friend list that needed to be invited, plus their plus ones. So they made a compromise where some guests would be a part of the 100 and the rest of the guests would be in the overflow wedding. So they will still be invited, but they wouldn't mess up the limit the venue has. The guests in the overflow room would watch the ceremony on a live stream video
Holy.
projected into the movie theater nearby the venue that they would rent out. I guess renting out a room in a theater is cheaper.
Yeah, it's not actually, I was told by Noah that it's not that it's not as expensive as you think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently, her list is the most important. So I was invited to the overflow wedding.
Oh, wow.
She's a freaking sibling. Like, what
Yeah.
you be?
Yeah.
I was pissed about this and I asked him what this was about when we were at my dad's birthday party 2 weeks ago. He said it was fine because I could go to the reception. I told him that it was the principal. I am his immediate family, so I should be able to go to the normal venue. He told me that he needs to make her family happy and that I should understand. Then he said we're not that close of family anyway and that she needs to be happy on her
Aw.
wedding. So basically, I told him that I will not be attending the wedding and that I should get to go to the main ceremony. He got mad at me and we were yelling and fighting. Multiple people at the party yelled at me for making a scene and that it is her day and I should be grateful for even getting to go to the overflow wedding. Am I the asshole?
That's actually really sad.
I
I
know.
know. Okay. I think,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. That's what, first off, wow. I've actually never heard of that. Like a live stream. Well, okay. So here's a shout out to Winnie. I think this is one of Winnie's weddings during COVID. They often live streamed weddings. That was
Oh,
a
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because it was very, very small. That's like totally under. Wow, I've never heard of that. Like a live stream, like, because, but how is that? So they live stream the ceremony, but everyone could come later for the reception. I don't know if that was answered or whatever.
Yeah, like, I think the ceremony, the big official ceremony would be streamed for the other people who couldn't fit into the
Mhm.
venue, and then they would all meet at the reception later.
Yeah. I think that the sister is 100% right. Like, no matter how close or not close you are, that's your sister. And there's 100 people. She should make that cut.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's still just a reception at the end that everyone gets to go to.
These
That
are
makes
wild.
it okay,
These
but
are like,
then, someone in the comments made a good point, like, someone said, "You're not the asshole." It seems like this overflow wedding is just a gift grab
yeah,
that, like, "Oh, well, don't watch us actually get married, but please come. We'll
to the
feed you.
reception.
Please
Yeah,
give
yeah,
us money."
yeah,
Or whatever gift. Seems like everyone's kinda just in the consensus that they are not the asshole. I think, uh, close or not, immediate family should
yeah.
be
I
involved at the
agree.
wedding.
Yes. And it's not just her day, it's their day. And I
Mhm.
understand, like, yeah, she has a big family, a lot of friends. It's 100. Like, you
Mhm,
could fit your sister in there. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like, well, I think we have that same opinion. So
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Ugh. If he's gonna be like that, they've been dating for a few years, and I'm just like, if
I
that's what
know.
it's like, you're gonna be, having a very interesting marriage.
Yes, yes. And also just like, wow, what a fun sister in law you're going to have
Oh, good
to,
lord.
yeah, yeah.
That's pretty straightforward.
That
Not the
is
asshole.
not the asshole. Okay, my next one is, Mon, what my favorite topic is?
In the
Vegans.
wedding oh.
I'm sorry if there are any vegans out there. I don't think we have any vegans. Oh, who knows? Who knows if we do?
Oh, vegans in weddings.
Vegan.
Oh, that'll
So
be
this is
interesting.
interesting. So This article was removed from Am I the Asshole itself, and all that we found is just a summary. I don't know
Oh.
why. I don't know.
Oh,
Okay.
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 I'm intrigued.
Okay. So this is kind of just a summary. It's not the actual original poster that's like that is actually narrating or whatever. So,
Oh, okay.
okay. In a recent post shared by the Am I the Asshole Reddit forum, a woman explained how her friend and friend's partner traveled from another country to attend her wedding. She noted that months before the event, she asked her guests about dietary restrictions, which is when she discovered that two of her friends were vegan. However, the bride confessed that she made a mistake when organizing the meal for her friends. Since my dinner included veggie options, I wrongly assumed that the caterer would also do vegan ones. But when I asked 1.5 months before the wedding, I learned that they couldn't. I should have asked earlier. Unfortunately, some things came up and delayed our prep. The woman noted that she apologized to her friends and asked for ideas on how to handle the situation, with recommendations including that the bride cook or buy something from the supermarket for her friends to eat at the wedding. However, she said that things took a turn when her friend ultimately decided not to go to the wedding over the lack of vegan food options. The conversation turned quite cold, and the next day she decided not to come to the wedding or to the bachelorette that was happening the following week, even though there was no catering issue there. She said her decision was final and we could speak after the wedding, as she didn't want to upset me before the day. She said the friend that is no longer going to the wedding said that she found it disrespectful that I didn't have a suitable vegan option for her and her partner. So she then acknowledged how she felt extremely hurt and blindsided by her friend, since she felt like she didn't have a chance to find a solution. The friend is asking, not the friend, the bride is asking, am I the asshole?
I don't think so. I personally don't think so. I mean, yeah, she kind of made a mistake on like vegetarian does not equal vegan
Mhm.
food.
Totally different.
Very different. And she even asked them, for like options for like what to do because she forgot or it's like too late in the planning.
Mhm.
I think it's a little dramatic for them to be like, I'm not going anymore because I feel disrespected. I don't know. I feel like there's ways to, yeah, you can either like pick up some vegan food
Yes.
beforehand
Yeah,
or
yeah,
you leave early after, like, don't go to the reception then. Like,
yeah.
um, I
I
don't
feel like
know.
there's just other ways that this could have been handled. I feel
Mhm.
like if this happened to me, I would have probably not gone to my friend and say, I forgot. And you know what I mean? Like, even if the caterer doesn't offer the option, you can order from a restaurant, have it door dashed, and just have the caterer serve it in a
Mhm.
nice plate and just pretend, you know what I mean? Like, there are totally ways that I think that you could have remedied the situation without letting the person know that you forgot about their dietary restriction or whatever, especially because I was kind of wondering, like, if the friend, like, also felt disrespected, because it seems like they're coming from another country, or that's what was, like, going to a wedding in another country is a big thing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, like, you want to accommodate those. We have a huge like expense in traveling for a wedding and all that kind of stuff. And I think, like, I saw this thing once where it's like, people come to your wedding, they spend a lot of money. The least you can do is feed them well. Like, that's literally
Mhm.
all you can do for them. So I think, like, so on the comments. So what do you think? Asshole, not asshole?
I don't think she's an asshole. Yeah, I agree it could have been handled another way, but I don't think she's like an asshole to I mean, it doesn't count for her to be an asshole for it. If she were to be like, "No, I'm not gonna accommodate anyone,"
And I don't care.
then that yeah, that would make her an asshole,
Yeah.
but she kinda tried. She didn't succeed, but
Yeah.
she kinda tried.
Yeah.
So, I think that, yeah, it's, like, weird that the friends are willing to fly over to see you on your big day, but then opt out because your food
Yeah.
wasn't there. Like,
Right. Right.
uh, just go to the ceremony then and then just dip at the reception.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stay.
Yes,
Like
yes. I think that like also like when you attend a wedding out of the country or even like travel for a wedding, right? Like even if it's like not in your area or whatever,
Mhm.
it's just like you're probably like pretty good friend. I would think, right? Like you're
I
pretty
would
good
think so.
friends to like invite someone and also to spend that kind of money. So it's kind of a shame that they are like the person invited is acting this way when
Mhm.
the bride tried to, even though it wasn't handled correctly, like she tried, that type of thing. So that's pretty much the consensus in the
Right.
comments is that like, you're not an asshole, you tried type thing. So yeah.
So I have one more article, and
Okay.
it's kind of like in the same like relationship of your
Ooh.
your article that you did.
Mhm.
Um, am I the asshole for un-RSVPing from a wedding 1 week before the wedding? So this person writes, "Hello, I just wanted to ask this question to get a second opinion, but let me give you the context first. I got invited to a former coworker's wedding about a week ago, and it will be held this coming Sunday. At first, I was very excited to go and RSVP'd a couple of days after I was given the invitation. Now, everything kind of went downhill when I began looking for a dress. I was just invited as a guest. I am not in the wedding party. She just wanted to mention that. I work a 9 to 5, so I started to realize that with my job ending quite late in the day, I wouldn't have much time to go out and get a dress. Another thing that has held me back is money. Money has been very tight for me these days, and I can't really afford to buy a dress and shoes I'd only wear once. I don't know if this is how she sounds, but this is just how
I
it's
love
coming
it. I love the context, the build up. It's like you're trying to get them on your side, right?
across.
Sorry. Okay, go.
Okay. Transportation has also been quite an issue as well. No, so nothing's really working in my favor. I did message the bride about my absence. I feel really bad for un-RSVPing, but the invitation was given so last minute. I didn't mention this to her as I wasn't looking to stress her out any more than she might already be. And I'm just not really in a place where I can spend money on a dress and shoes on the fly, as I absolutely have no time and not much to spend. So am I the asshole for un-RSVPing 1 week before the wedding?
Did she say how long before she was invited? She said it was
Um,
like last minute, or was that like, so
it
this is telling us she's a B-lister,
so this is
or
actually
we
a
can
really
assume.
new this is a really new article. It was like
Mhm.
posted 3 days ago,
Oh, okay.
and that means it was on July 7th. And it says she put the date that the wedding was gonna happen July 14th. So literally a week before their actual, um, wedding. So she was giving it, like, super last minute. So she was she was in the overflow.
We're assuming, right? So if you
Yeah.
get it like later, you're assuming you're a B. I don't know. I think it's like Mon and I have both been brides, right? We've freaking
Oh, good.
paid for these weddings. It's like $50, etc. Whatever. $50 probably doesn't even exist these days, but it's like
Mhm.
per head that you're paying your catering for
Sure.
this wedding. And
Mhm.
like, I would be pissed because you probably can't get that money back. Like, the caterers have to know X amount of time in advance your count, and if
Mhm.
you're in that time frame, she's not going to be able to cancel your meal and she pays for it.
Mhm.
So I mean, I understand what she's saying about, it's expensive, like, yeah, for sure, and that goes without saying. Like, there's all these articles out there about how expensive it is even to attend a wedding just as a
Sure.
guest. But
Yeah.
this brings me back, like, Rox and I, as we used to do weddings, right? I
Mhm.
mean, like, we've done a wedding, very, very nice, very, very expensive place. And like an entire table was empty and people didn't show up. Like, you can count
No.
how much money that cost. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Yeah.
I just think, like, I don't know. I would have probably just worn something I had or something like that, because it's just messed up. I don't know. That's just because I know the other side of it. Whereas like someone gets stuck paying for your meal, even though you didn't show up. You know what I mean?
Right. Given that, yeah, she was kind of like invited last minute. I just think it's kind of ridiculous that the excuse is because I don't have a dress. I don't want to buy a dress because I can't afford it. 2, I don't have any time to buy a dress or shoes.
I like how she put that in.
And I'm just like,
That she's
what
gonna wear
do you
once.
wear? Like, you don't have to wear a dress. Honestly, you could wear like a nice blouse, a nice pair of
Yeah.
pants.
You're a coworker.
Like, you're not trying to wear a wedding dress to another wedding. Like, you just gotta wear something appropriate. Like, you don't have to buy new things. I often wear, like, the same thing to a wedding to any wedding that I'm invited to
I mean, there's
because
so few, right? It's not like you're
yeah.
going, like, every week or
Well, that's
whatever.
what she was saying is, like, she doesn't wanna buy anything new because she knows she's gonna only wear it once, right? So it's like, I've heard of people saying, like, in their wardrobe, they include, like, just a basic black dress because it's like, "Oh, I could wear this to a wedding. I can wear
Mhm.
this to
A
a
funeral.
funeral." But it's like literally a dress, you could just wear it wherever,
Yeah.
and it's acceptable. You
Yes.
don't have to find something fancy and stand
Yeah.
out and whatnot. Yeah, again, you're like, yeah, you're a former coworker.
Former coworker, not
Yeah,
even and but I'd like to say that, like, they have such nice dresses at Target.
I agree.
Yeah, like, it's,
Some of
like,
them are expensive now though,
yeah,
but
some of them I mean, but you could, like,
50
I don't
bucks.
know.
50
Yeah,
bucks.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Or
could get
wear
that,
something you
fixed
have
up at the
already.
curbside.
Yeah, wear something you have. I don't
Honestly,
understand. Yeah.
yeah, for that to be the reason why you're gonna RSVP, I feel like that's a little weird. If you don't wanna go, just say you don't wanna
Yeah.
go.
I think that she probably made a mistake about, like, RSVPing so quick, like, being super excited, RSVPing so quick, and then realizing that, like,
Yeah. So,
uh
she added edits.
okay.
Uh, her first edit is, "I fully forgot to mention that this originally, but I will be sending the couple a gift off their registry regardless of the situation. I had that planned since I got the invitation." Her second edit is, "I just wanted to thank you guys for all your opinions," 'cause, she did get an awful a lot of opinions, "to help me better understand what I could have done differently. I will use this as a learning opportunity and use all of your tips next time in a situation like this might arise. I'd also like to mention that in no way was I trying to sound like I was just spewing out excuses to get out of going. I just wanted to tell the bride the truth and not nor do I expect for her to reply.
Whoa,
Last
but
thing."
wait, did she tell her the truth?
I guess so.
I wouldn't have done that. I would have just said I was sick.
And then
Sorry,
she
what was
says,
the
last thing, last thing, I promise." That's literally what she writes. "I will most likely be deleting this later on solely just because I don't want to get second opinions, and it probably won't be necessary to keep this post up later." So
Oh my
this is literally
god.
like fresh. And she's
Yeah,
gonna
you
delete
said it
this.
was just 3 days ago, and she already gave 2 updates. Girl.
Yeah, someone said, "You don't own one dress you could wear? You don't have easy access to transportation?
Yeah.
Maybe you have legitimate reasons, so you need to plan, or RSV from the jump, no.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why did you say yes and then say
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, someone says everyone's the asshole here. She invited you 2 weeks before her wedding, which is pretty poor form. Did she have cancellations and you were second tier choice of guest?
100%. 100%
And you
overflow.
were and you were then forced to respond very quickly without thinking of the time it would take you to make sure you had the right
Yeah,
clothes.
yeah.
I mean, you were saying that they paid for that seat, that plate, right? Like, usually when they have catered wedding receptions, and
Maybe it's
so
not. Yeah, maybe it's like I was just thinking, like, what if it's just like a backyard buffet type thing?
oh,
You
a
know what I
costume
mean?
party?
Didn't she have a costume that she could wear to this thing?
Maybe she could be the corpse bride.
I know, but I guess it depends, like, I wanna say, like, a super formal event, you probably wouldn't be inviting people 2 weeks out, And why would you invite a former coworker unless you were super close to them? Like, I get it if you were like super close to them, but I think if you were a close coworker, you probably would have been not in the overflow and invited before 2 weeks. So yeah,
Right.
this thing is a mess.
Well, that's why I was asking, like, if they're paying per plate, right? It's like, well,
Yeah.
they're already paying for it regardless. If they did have a cancellation, they wanted someone who they thought that they liked and would enjoy celebrating with them and
Mhm.
eating this plate of food that they paid for already.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's
True,
like
true.
they're gonna have to eat the money anyway. They just
Yeah.
wanted someone to actually make use of it.
Yes,
So, it's
and get
like,
a gift out of it too.
yeah, gift
Yeah.
grab, maybe.
Yes, yes, yeah. All right, you guys. So we have our final article, and as many of we just kind of discussed it right now. A huge part of like being in a wedding or being in the bridal party is like the cost, even as like a guest, right? It's expensive to attend a wedding, as we just heard
Yep,
from
yep,
the
yep.
lady before.
Dress, shoes,
Dress, shoes. Okay.
existing
Yes.
transportation.
Yes. Okay. So this one, okay. So first of all, it looks like it's from the UK. So everything is like in euros, but I'll read it anyway. Okay. So, would I be the asshole for telling my friend I won't bankroll her wedding? I like that. Okay. My friend
Oh,
is getting married later this year, and her sister, bridesmaid number one, bridesmaid number two, and I are bridesmaids. So there's three bridesmaids.
okay.
Um, she got engaged in 2022, but plans to marry this year. In this 1.5 year span, there have been several instances which have accumulated, and it's finally starting to bug me. She's planning a 100K euro destination wedding, expecting a lot from guests and bridesmaids without considering the financial strain. My opinion is if you can't afford it, don't do it. Highlights of my grievances include, I like this.
Whoa.
I know it's very well formatted. Okay. An engagement party, which was technically a barbecue at a lake. Everyone had to bring their own food and drink. A bridal shower, not a bachelorette, which was a brunch and everyone had to pay their own. For the bachelorette party, we planned to fly to another European country and all attendees chipped in to pay their fare and part of hers. A civil wedding, which required a day off, and a pricey dinner at a 3-star restaurant, which was 300 to 400 euro per person, paid by the invitees. The wedding itself cost me and my boyfriend 3,000 euros. This excluding additional costs for pre-day and post-wedding parties where guests are expected to cover their shares. Good God. So there's just, it just goes on and on. Non-financial demands extend beyond bridesmaid duties, including organizing, music translator, makeup specialist, blah, 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 music translator. So basically, the end of it is right. I've reached my limit after being asked to contribute another $500, 500 euros for a civil wedding gift organized by another friend. I've told this friend that we've decided not to further bankroll the wedding, telling the friend bride should have more of an affordable wedding that doesn't overly burden the guests. So this is like a would I be the asshole? So she hasn't, I don't know. I don't know. What does that mean again? Would I be the asshole? Like, would I be the asshole if I told the bride? But basically, what I just want to discuss are what are your thoughts on like this, like, when people are being asked to pay? This is insane. Like,
So, I didn't have a big bougie wedding. I've mentioned this a couple times in past episodes. Me and Jay had a very small civil ceremony. We were also capped out at the venue, which was City Hall, about like 40 people. So we could only invite 40 people. And then I guess I had an overflow wedding. Um, People who couldn't make it to the ceremony, we invited them to the reception. I had an overflow reception, essentially. So I didn't have a bridal party. We didn't really have anyone to like, be a best man, bridesmaids, all of that stuff. So we didn't make people commit to come with us to a bachelorette party or come with us to an engagement party. We literally just said, "Hey, we're getting married. We'd love it if you could come. We have food."
Yeah.
Um, but that was it, and I know there's a thing of, like, when you have a bridal party, at least, yeah, for the women, it's like you ask them to be a part of you ask them to be a bridesmaid, and I always thought it meant, "Hey, could you be a part of this my special day, but could you buy your dress, buy your bouquet, pay for your makeup getting done, your getting done?" I never really knew the logistics of that, and maybe, for some other cases, the bride does cover that. They just want you to be a part of her special day.
Right,
So,
right.
in my experience, I don't like, yeah, the fact that she was getting asked to pay to do all these things, but you could have just not done them.
Yeah. I think this is extreme. Like
Very.
there's definitely like of course like there's different I've seen it different ways. I've only been a bridesmaid twice. One bridesmaid once, maid of honor twice. Maid of honor once. So I've only ever had the experience two times and it was back when like I don't know why but now why are the bachelorettes always destinations? Like it wasn't a thing in I would say back in my day or whatever. It wasn't like that. It was just like you went to someone's house, a stripper came, you guys
Ugh,
had food. And
I
that,
mean,
now
I
it's like totally like people, it's like a thing. Like it's usually like they plan to go out of town, which is super expensive. But I think like you've seen it different ways where, the bride pays for some of the stuff. And there are definitely like financial commitments. Like typically you would be paying for your own dress and stuff like that. But this whole thing about like bringing your own food to the engagement party, paying for the dinner, like no, like these are your guests, so that's like
if
crazy.
you
That
wanna do
is
all of those things, you can go do them by yourself, like,
mhm.
you don't have to force that on, like, someone else.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe she's not. It's like, if you can't afford it, you can't come and hang
Yeah.
out with
Yeah.
us. But, like, I don't know, I feel like that's a lot. I
This
know
is
that,
extreme. This is not normal.
you were saying that, like, when being asked to, like, be part of the bridal party, they, like, take them somewhere, like, destination, whatever. What I've seen, like, super extra, super OA is, like, the gift that the bride gives to the bridesmaids to ask them to
Oh,
be a part of the thing,
yes.
and some of them are, like, really
Yeah.
insanely expensive.
Yeah.
It's
Mon, you
like,
know what they
"Oh,
call
I"
those? They're
what?
proposing to their bridesmaids.
Oh, but
They're
they
called
spend
like
so much
yeah.
money.
Yeah. That
I
wasn't a
mean,
thing before either. That's like a new thing.
they're
That
like
wasn't
boxes, huge gift boxes of,
Mhm.
like, sure, the more humble ones are like, "Oh, I got you this candle and just, like, a
Yeah.
sweet message. Will you be a
My
bridesmaid?" or
bridesmaid.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But then I've seen, like, some, it's like, "I got you a a bag, and I got you, um,
Champagne,
champagne,
jewelry.
pajamas,
Yeah, yeah.
jewelry," and it's like,
Mhm.
"Girl, that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
actual wedding."
Yeah. You know what I have actually seen is like influencers do this, so
Uh,
they get a lot of that stuff
oh,
sponsored,
for sure.
but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not fair. Like, how many of us are influencers that get that stuff sponsored?
If if I get married again and I get sponsors,
Yeah.
I will do it.
Oh my God, Mon, a lot of people actually get like a huge part of their wedding. They're all sponsors. You know what I mean? Like from the
Yeah,
photo booth to the catering to the, all that kind of stuff. It's crazy. But yeah, I know
that's
like
crazy.
this kind of stuff, like you hear over and over about like the costs of like attending weddings. It's crazy. I think this one is nuts. Like you're literally not paying for anything. You want your guests and your bridal party to like pay for everything, which is so embarrassing.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think she's kinda asshole-ish for, like, saying those specific words of, "I'm not bankrolling your
Yeah, that's
wedding."
harsh. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, she shouldn't have to pay for much of that stuff. She could
Mhm.
just not go.
Yeah. You could just not be a
know,
bridesmaid
I'll
or just
just
say
see
you.
you at the wedding.
Yeah, she
I
could
can
be
only
honest like the
afford
girl
my shoes
before,
and dress.
and yeah, exactly. I guess it is like okay to be honest about, that. So,
Oh
oh
my
my goodness,
god,
my
that was a good
God.
one.
Yeah, guys, we can go on and on.
There's
There's
so
so
many.
many.
People are
Yes.
dropping these like
Yeah,
like
it's
hotcakes.
I think it's wedding season, right? It's summer.
Yeah.
So it's happening. People are like, yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. I thought that was fun. Good
that was
choice. Good
funny.
choice.
Okay.
Nothing like a classic Am I the Asshole?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we're going to
Uh,
go ahead and wrap up this episode.
mhm.
Thanks again to everyone that, gave us a listen and a watch. We appreciate your time and, your comments and your feedback. And if you've listened till the end, I don't know, whatever. It's hot.
If you've listened to the end of this episode, leave us like a wedding ring emoji or bride
There's a
dress
bride.
or
Yeah.
bride
There's
dress,
a bride. Yeah. Yeah. There's a
wedding
bride.
dress.
Yeah.
If you can find the corpse bride, I don't know, a zombie.
I know. Oh my God.
Yeah, leave us an emoji. Also, like, let us know if you think any of these people are the assholes. Um, I'd love to hear you guys' opinion because, maybe you feel differently about weddings versus like the way that I had like a wedding. You might have a different perspective. So definitely leave your perspective and comments down below. We'd love to read them. If they're really good, maybe we'll mention them in the next
Yes.
episode.
Yes, for sure.
But yeah, don't forget to follow, rate, and subscribe to our podcast. Follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, on Threads. Check us out there, chat with us, hang out. And we actually have this new feature on our podcast hosting platform. There's a thing called fan mail. I don't really like how that sounds, but it's basically a feature that when you're listening to this episode or any of our episodes really, at least through Buzzsprout, there's an option, a little hyperlink in our description box that you can send us an OA text message. And literally as you're listening to the podcast, you can text us like whether you agree with us on this episode or you thought it was funny, you found it entertaining, or you have an idea for us to do another episode, uh anything like that. You can do it as you're listening and we'd get them on our inbox. We could give you shout out in the
Yeah.
next episode.
Please, text us.
Yeah, feel free to text us. I don't think you have to add a phone number or anything. It might just say where you're listening from, but I don't think it gives a name unless you give up your own name.
Mhm.
Don't leave your social security numbers or
Yeah,
whatever, but but yeah, try it out. We'd love to hear from you. Yeah, until next time,
stay OA
in the best
the best way.
way.
Bye,
Bye.
guys. Stay cool out there.
Stay hydrated. Shoot.